Hello and welcome back for part 2 of my p90 upgrades. Last time we concentrated on rate of fire, but this time we'll be working on the range and power. Once again, I'm going to be sourcing parts as cheaply as possible to see if we can do this on a tight budget. So without further ado, let's dive in. Please forgive the makeshift backstop. As you can see, we are testing with 0.2 gram BBs. I'm happy with the rate of fire as I don't want to burn through mags too quickly, but that power output is awful. My mission today will be to increase the power output from 225 feet per second as close to the 350 limit as I can, though I'll want to use 0.25s in the field, so I'll have to take into account any dual creep. We're going to start by upgrading the inner barrel to this ZCI 6.02 barrel, which is 247mm long, and it cost me $17.99 from eBay. Next up, from the 01 sale, I've got this generic hop-up bucking and nub. This cost $5.99 before postage. I also picked up this Garda p90 nozzle for $6.99 before postage from 01. You might not be able to find these products for the same price at 01 as I bought these in an end of season sale. Finally, I picked up these 01 bushings for $6.99 before postage, as in the previous video I bought the wrong size. Moving on to AliExpress, I didn't quite know what size spring I'd need, so I picked up this pair for £5 before postage. That's everything I'm going to attempt this session, so let's add it up. The parts totaled £40.50, and then I'm going to allocate £3 for postage between AliExpress and 01, as I did buy several other things for other projects at the same time. To make life easier, I'm going to break my p90 down to its two main parts, and we'll start by concentrating on the barrel and hop unit. This hop rubber isn't that old, but as we're upgrading the barrel, we'll change it anyway. To remove the barrel assembly, simply push in, twist 90 degrees and pull out. This will leave a few parts to move freely, just make sure you see where they belong and don't lose them. Now you have your barrel assembly, set the hop to the off position and remove the C-clip holding the barrel in place, which I forgot to do. With the C-clip removed, the barrel and hop rubber should come out much easier than this. There's that C-clip. Now if you're smarter than me and you removed the C-clip before you took the barrel out, then the hop rubber should have come with it. Now I've got to figure out how to get it out. One thing I have learnt previously is when you're working on the hop chamber, it's best to hold it upside down so that the nub doesn't fall out. I was quite impressed with the polish on this bore. Now, you do need to make sure you clean your barrels before installation, but in the interest of time I'll do that after the video. Now, this hot bucking is pretty cheap, and if I weren't doing it on a budget I might have spent a little bit more on something like a maple leaf. The nub is also very basic, it's only a small piece of rubber tubing. So I decided to keep the nub that was already in the P90, which is a lot stiffer. It's made of thin plastic and it's shaped a little bit more like a cotton reel. Comparing these two buckings, they look more or less the same, but the old one has been sat in my drawer for over 7 years, so we might as well replace it with a fresh one. When installing the bucking onto your barrel, look for the notch just inside the hop-up bucking and line it up with the groove in the barrel before sliding on. If you don't line this up, you'll never get a good seal. Not to mention that the hop patch will not line up with the window in the barrel. You can test that the patch has seated correctly by placing your finger over the window and applying pressure. When you look down the barrel, you should see the patch push into the barrel. With that done, let's look at getting this into the hop chamber. First, we need to make sure that the hop-up nub is seated and all the way out of the way for us to get this barrel in. The best way I have found to do this is to take the groove of the barrel and line it up with the seam of the hop chamber, then push gently until it goes all the way in. Again, you can check everything's seated by looking down the barrel, and this time apply pressure to the hop arm to ensure the patch is being pushed in. Once you're happy with that, grab the rotary dial and slide it down the barrel. Make sure you have the spirally side facing the hop unit so that it can interface with the tab on the hop arm. This will give you your adjustment. Then lock everything in place with the C-clip. But maybe put it on the right way round. And that's done. Let's get it back into the bodywork. With the front half reassembled, now we're going to move on to the gearbox. I won't make you guys sit and watch me disassemble the gearbox or the bodywork, so I'll fast forward this while I do the following spiel. If you like what you've seen so far, please do give me a like and subscribe. At the time of recording, I've got 49 subscribers and I would absolutely love for this video to get me over that 50 subscriber milestone. When comparing old versus new, I realised the old spring was far smaller than the new ones I bought, so I decided to start off with the smallest new spring with the M100. The cylinder and head are still perfectly serviceable, and I previously tested them with the existing piston and they do make a good seal, so I'll keep all of that for now. Really, I should be replacing the piston with one with a full metal rack instead of a whole plastic rack. However, I did think that if I'm going to have a point of failure, at least I know what it will be. In the last video I'd bought the wrong size bushings. Luckily I've now managed to get hold of the right size ones because I was a little bit worried about that plastic wearing out with the higher torque. So let's change those over. Now these old ones are pretty wedged in there, so I'm just going to use a screwdriver to pop them through. So what I'm doing here is adding a thin layer of grease before I try and push them in, just to make it a bit easier, and then the tension of the gears should hold it in place afterwards. Once installed, I add a little bit extra for good measure, just to make sure that the shims and gears can spin freely. Then repeat, doing both sides of the gearbox. That done, I can start to reassemble the gearbox, dropping that new spring in as I go. Next up is the replacement nozzle, which has a much more uniform shape around the lip, so hopefully that will provide a much better seal. The nozzle simply slides onto the cylinder head, but you do need to make sure it lines up with the tappet plate too. Because this gearbox is pre-quick change, I always struggle to keep the anti-reversal latch happy whilst trying to get the spring back into the box. Now, as I'd replaced the bushings, it meant that the shimming was now out of alignment and I had to redo that. I've skipped that in this video because it takes a very long time and skipped straight to reassembly. With the lower completed, we can simply slide the two sections back together and we're done. So I tested off screen initially and got the 355 to 356, so I tried attaching a dummy suppressor to see if the extra distance would bring it down, but it only made matters worse. In the end, I went back and bought an M95 spring, and while I was there I wasn't quite happy with leaving that old piston in there, so I bought a full metal rack version. This brought the power down to 340 feet per second with a 0.2, and it still stayed under the dual limit with a 0.25, so I was happy with that. If we add up the cost of all of the parts I've actually used in this video and their postage costs, we've spent £51.28. If we add on the £41.71 that I used in the last video, the total upgrade cost is £92.99. Was it worth it instead of buying a new gun? Not sure, but I look forward to testing it in the field, which I hope to show you in my next video. That's all we've got time for today. I'll see you next time.